Okay, so hey y'all, this is your girl D back with another book review. This book review is on Issa Rae's The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. Um, if you don't know who Issa Rae is an actress, a writer, and a producer who got her start really on YouTube when it kind of popped off. She has a series called Awkward Black Girl based off her life where she's living in LA, going through all these different scenarios and being super awkward and trying to navigate through that with navigating through love, navigating through life. And it's a very funny series. It actually spun off to be the show Insecure. If you've never watched Insecure, get into it. It's a really good show. I believe it's on HBO. It may also be on Netflix, but don't quote me on that. So back to the book. Issa Rae, this is her memoir. So she's talking about what it was like to grow up as a Senegalese American young person. Her family moved around a lot, so she was on the East Coast, she was on the West Coast, but eventually she's kind of settled down on the West Coast. So Issa Rae's dad was a pediatrician from Senegal. Her mom is a teacher from Louisiana, and they somehow met in France, I believe, and got together. So Issa Rae documents what it was like growing up in a Senegalese household. They did keep her in touch with her heritage. She would go back and visit her Senegalese family every now and again. And this book is a comedy, so a lot of the things that Issa Rae is a comedic genius in my opinion. The things that she goes through, she makes it into everything is like a joke. And if you like kind of the driest humor, that's the kind of humor that Issa Rae is coming with. So this is in her memoir. She goes over what it's like to grow up, and she was kind of nerdy, quirky. She didn't really fit that black girl stereotype. She grew up predominantly white spaces, which I can relate to myself. So this is why I really love Issa Rae in general. But that's also why I decided to pick up her memoir. So there's some parts where I straight cackled through the book. Like the whole book I was cackling, but she goes on to talk about, her days in primary school and going to these, academies and these well-to-do schools. And she was talking about how she started getting into, adult topics like relationships and thinking about those things, all those things that teenagers go through. So if y'all can remember back to when we had AOL, I even knew about AOL, growing up as a millennial and having to log on through the dial-up and all that. But most importantly, when we was in them chat rooms and we did not need to be. So when she started talking about her screen name, y'all, every time she said Sugar Love 112, I wanted to scream because this book is like the way she was talking about it. When you start typing and you create your screen name and you go in these chat rooms and you meet random people that you're not supposed to meet. Some people got snatched up back in the day in the 90s, but we're not going to talk about that through them chat rooms. But she was talking about her screen name was Sugar Love 112. I cried. And that's what you're gonna get throughout this whole book. It's just pure comedy gold, like dry humor if you like the awkward humor, and it's the timing of it that really makes Issa Rae someone special, where her comedy isn't like it's not obvious. Another part where she was talking about her relationship, she met this young man called Oladife. Y'all, when he was talking about looking up at the moon and all this like cringy, like wannabe romantic stuff. Like, girl, so was like, she was not having it. So you are gonna get so many. You're gonna just laugh throughout the book. I think a lot of people you have to get the humor to find it funny. I don't know how else to describe it. If you don't have like a dry sense of humor, you're not gonna get it. Like, that's just what it is. But on a serious note, there's a part where she talks about what it means to gain like empathy and to gain people's like not necessarily recognition, but to be seen as a black woman. She was talking about the movie Precious, um, and where the only reason people empathized with Precious was because she was just this really tragic character. Like, black women should not be only empathized with when there's tragedy. So this book really, I mean, it's not really what Issa Rae is talking about. The reality is that representation of all black women really matters, because she probably never saw herself in on TV or in different aspects of like Hollywood, media, things like that, where the black woman is one way, versus what she came with, and with Awkward Black Girl, that was such a different spin on what it was like to be a black woman. I think this book is relatable for black young people, black women, college age, whoever is going through kind of that awkwardness and not understanding where you fit into the black girl world. I mean, for me, I grew up in predominantly white spaces, suburban spaces, went to PWIs. Idea of being navigating blackness versus the world. And I think Issa does a good job. I mean, showcasing her life and all of the things that she went through. Um, so another part where she was talking about, she was kind of the smart girl. She was the smart black girl, and she was talking about the pressure to be able to dance. That's another thing that's very relatable in the black community. It's like you need to have some kind of like talent, and it's like, if you're not a dancer, you better be a singer. If you're not a singer, you better know how to rap. If you're not a rapper, you better know how to do something. But as a black person, it's like there's always this pressure to have that coolness factor. And a lot of us who grew up in PWI spaces, or grew up in primarily white spaces, we just don't have that. Like, I can't say we, but I can say I can sing a little bit. But when you grow up in like certain spaces, there's that dual consciousness of, I'm black, but I also grew up in this area, and I think that's what kind of comes through in this book. If you're that girl, or if you're that guy who grew up like that, and you'll understand. So if you are into this kind of like humorous, like dry humor, kind of just that natural, that lunch table, that milk coming out of your nose, the random kind of humor, I would say go out and get this book. Book, check out Insecure, check out her YouTube channel, check out her old work from Awkward Black Girl. Just support. Again, I will always push this. Just support black women, creatives who are doing their thing. But I gave this book a 4.7. Very good read, very easy read, very easy listen if you're an audiobook girl like myself. Yeah, and check it out. So, peace, one love, bye.